there are many traditional finance concepts that needs to be applied to crypto and are things that a lot of beginners and actually a lot of experts in this field tend to forget because it's crypto. And so today I have a 10-minute video that is going to cover an extremely important topic a lot of crypto investors, particularly looking to make any sort of profit in 2025, needs to at least spend the time to ponder and decide to implement it based on their own goals, okay? So let me take you through the sheet I have in front of you first. Now, this is admittedly, at least the first two things I want to show you here, are things I've spoken about many times on the channel before. I've definitely taken you guys through the fair share of proving to you why compounding is extremely valuable. And honestly, this isn't spoken about ever because personally, I was trying to prove a point against this some months ago. And after doing the maths, after actually visualizing it and playing out with the numbers, I came to realize, wow, that was obvious. Obviously, compounding your profits in 2025 is what you can then use in the next bear market to then make those exponential life-changing gains because you just have more capital because you can buy more coins. Let me explain it to you. The real big unlock here was actually a comment I recently received from one of you guys saying to me, actually it was on one of my live streams, and the gentleman said to me, hey, my fiance just heard you say this and she thinks that it's a load of nonsense because essentially it doesn't quite work that way. What if the price doesn't drop that far? Let me explain what I'm talking about here and you will understand because there is a definite contingency. So when everyone presumes in crypto, whether you're new, old, whatever, anywhere in between, you think that if you buy today, if you buy a set amount of coins today, you only affiliate the quality of that purchase with the price you bought those tokens at, right? How many of us have gone, I've bought it at such a good level, I want to hold these tokens forever because they're sucked into that level? That doesn't make any sense. What we have to sort of think about here is how many tokens we've acquired, okay? It doesn't matter how much capital we've put in, how much tokens we're acquiring, okay? And the reason you want to buy cheap is because you can acquire more tokens. So for example, what everyone presumes is that, let's say today we have $1,000 and we buy as many tokens as possible at $100 per token. Well, we get 10 quant. Well, the saying goes, hold that or hodl that until, you get like an X amount on that. So for example, if you want 100X for quant, it might not come in 2025, but it might come in 2030. You get the 100X. Therefore, you have your 10 tokens and congratulations, the price is at $10,000. You've 100X, you sell out, great. You get $100,000, less tax. You're probably, stuck with about $70,000. Sweet, but that isn't a good thing. If it happened in 2025 and you sold out in 2025, fantastic, because then you can buy back in again down here at 2026 to 2028 and then sell again in 2030, which is actually compounding, which is what I want to tell you guys. Okay, so what I've been saying for many months now is that in the same situation that plays out, for example, you buy with $1,000 as many possible QNT tokens as you can at $100 a pop, you get 10. Okay, so let's just say the price in 2025 goes to $5,000, but we don't get as lucky. Let's just say we sell on average at $3,000. We get 30K, all right? 10 quants, multiplied by $3,000 with 30X, which is probably a pretty reasonable outcome, I actually must say myself. But the key here is then rebuying back in, the bear market. So essentially, if the price of a QNT token at this point goes to $200, and let's say we decide to take out $3,000, let's say it goes to tax or whatever reasons, we just reinvest as much as we possibly can, which in this case is $27,000. Well, again, we're trying to buy as many QNT tokens here, which means buying cheaper is better because we can spend less capital to get the same amount of tokens. So in this case, the $27,000, we buy 135 quants. Fast forward to 2030, if say the price goes to $20,000, but we sell out at $10,000, we have 135 tokens now. Therefore, we make $1.35 million with a 70x overall rather than 100x. So rather than profiting, holding that time for 100x and you getting $100,000, you could actually get 1.35 for actually less multiples, if that makes sense. And I'll show you a few examples in this case. Every single one of these videos, I take you through, okay, for some of you pessimists out there, and I totally get it, right? If quant doesn't go to $3,000, if it instead goes to $1,000, and then you profit $10,000 in 2025, which is a very reasonable, I think, 10x, and then we still decided to save the $3,000, we weren't going to make this a proportionate thing. We were still going to save the same amount of tokens or dollars as we did in the larger example. In this case, we reinvest 7,000, therefore we buy 35 tokens. The key here again is that we are buying more tokens for that money, okay, which is the important part. right? So in this case, we'd profit 175,000, which is a 35x overall. So then you compare this with this example where Quant went to $10,000, we're getting more money with that for less overall price, if that makes sense. So you can see why compounding is powerful, but the real true question here, where it kind of confuses people, and I admit this is a very good exercise to run through, so I appreciate the gentleman in the live stream for mentioning this, and his fiance, by the way, was that, okay, Kyron, well, what happens if in, the next bear market, the $200 Quant, it doesn't ever come, right? What happens instead of only 2xing from the lows from buying today, it 9x's, or essentially, in this case, what I want to really shed light on is the bottom example here, which we will in a second. So in this case, let's say, again, the same situation plays out. We get 30,000, 20,000, and 10,000 out of the market. So just to show you guys what I'm talking about here, we haven't changed a single thing from this example and this example. It's the exact same. The difference here will be us reinvesting at $900. That's literally the only thing we're looking at, right? And so in this case, well, with the larger example, we can still buy more tokens because $27,000, even if it's $900 a pop, we get 30 tokens out of it. So we're still buying more than the original 10, even at $10,000. Therefore, we end up with 300,000 versus the person way back over here stuck at 100,000. So yes, that's still worth it at that point, but I get it, right? What happens if you don't make as much money in 2025's bull run? What happens if you make like 10x? That's it. Well, it's a very good thought exercise, essentially, right? We have 10 tokens and we only 10x, so we sell it at $1,000 and we get $10,000. Well, the same thing applies, right? Let's say in this case, we can only reinvest 7,000 because we saved the other 3, or it's for tax, whatever reason you want to say there. Well, in this case, we actually end up with $40,000. And here's the interesting thing. Notice, we end up with 8 QNT tokens, which means, yes, that we actually end up with less tokens than we began with. Now remember, the 10 tokens over here and the tokens that we accumulate over here, they're not corresponding. There's no sort of synchronicity there. We started with 10 tokens and we sold those 10 and then we bought back in. So really, in 2030, what this is essentially saying is we only have 8 tokens to sell. And remember, it's all about the tokens, not about the price you buy the project at. The only reason it's important to buy as cheap as possible, again, is to accumulate more tokens. So in this case, if you're still following me, you end up with less tokens. So in this case, yes, it is actually better holding the 10 tokens until, of course, 2030. Here's the thing though. The fact is, and I want to show you on this example, the fact is that the probability that this plays out is extremely low. You're much better off betting that this happens or a similar situation to this than you are betting on the worst case. And let me prove that to you, okay? So if we run over here, this is obviously a lot nicer. This is the situation if someone was to just buy the 10 quants and hold it all past 2025, all past the next bear market and sell in 2030. What happens? Well, again, we've run through the example before, right? At the very best situation, at the $10,000, they make 100 grand. They've 100x. Notice the difference here. 100xing, 41xing. Quite interesting, right? Anyway, so we go down, of course, and so the 10 tokens at $7,000, we get $70,000. Well, if we run through the previous example, this person would have made $133,000. So what I'm trying to show you guys here is as long as you accumulate more tokens in 2028, even if it is by 0.00001, you actually come out more profitable in the subsequent bull market. Because as you can see here, this person, of course, holding those 10 QNT tokens, as you would expect, they have 2 more tokens than the gentleman over in this situation. Therefore, he profits $10,000 more. Simple, 5 by 2, right? Okay, that makes total sense. But again, let me explain. The probability that you only cash out at $1,000, which is only a 10x from here, and QNT only drops 10% in the bear market is highly unlikely. Remember, all this mess aside, essentially the situation where, you would have sold out at $1,000 and you have 10,000, and then Quant being at $1,000 in price. Remember, this doesn't matter anymore. Quant's at $1,000 in the bull run. What you're saying here is that it only falls 10%, and that is its low in the next bear market. And I think we can all agree that ain't gonna happen, okay? It's just not going to happen at all. So you are far better off betting against that doomsday situation from playing out, right? And actually compounding your returns than you are doing it, holding for the long term, hodling. And this was a concept a lot of people don't understand. I didn't for a long time until I decided to make a video proving against this theory, and then I proved myself wrong, which is what this is all about, you know? So guys, please absorb this. Again, thanks to the gentleman that did point it out. I really appreciate it, because without you, I couldn't address this situation. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll talk to you all soon. Take good care. Bye.